Hi there, Martin Salvo from Salvo Migration with another relationship and application timeline. The purpose of this video is to walk you through a recently approved partner visa that we handled here at Salvo Migration for you to get an idea of this couple's relationship facts, so you can compare your facts to this couple to maybe identify any areas of weakness that you might have and hopefully walk away with some pointers and ideas on how you can strengthen your application, but also to get a feel for how long applications are taking with the government, because there is unfortunately the reality in terms of how long applications really are taking versus what you might see published on the government website, which is really kind of broad averages that we find are not really indicative of what's happening on the ground, in the actual industry itself. So hopefully you learn a few things by watching this. So this was a subclass 820, so an onshore partner visa application that was submitted on the 29th of August 2022. The application was granted on the 13th of January 2023. Okay, so we're looking at roughly 4.5 months processing time for this approval. We also received a request for information about a month prior to the approval. Likely that would have been for something like a medical or a police clearance or maybe a missing item here or there, but likely it was one of those two. Once that was provided and finalized, the partner visa was granted 13th of January 2023. Bangladesh passport, okay? Onshore Bangladesh passport, 4 or 5 months processing time, granted on the 13th of January. Now, this couple met in person in February 2020, okay? So keep in mind, partner visa submitted August 2022, couple met in February 2020. They went on their first date in March 2020, so a couple of weeks after meeting, they went on their first official date. And they considered that they started dating exclusively about 2 months after their first date. So met, first date, and then a couple of months later is when they considered that their exclusive relationship started. They then took a little holiday, a joint holiday in June 2020. They were then introduced to the sponsor's friends in July 2020, and then started living together in October 2020. So from when they met to when they started living together, you're looking at around 6-7 months. And that was when they got their joint lease. Okay, so they moved in together, and that's when they started cohabitating. Is also the time that they got their joint lease. Doesn't always work out that way. Often couples may live with family first, may actually move into one of the partner's initial premises. So it could be that one person is already renting or maybe owns a property and the other partner moves in with that partner before they eventually get their own place. I mean, the scenarios will always vary, but the point is that this couple were not living together and then they started cohabitating in their own place with their joint lease. Similarly, that is when they started pooling their finances, as in open up joint bank accounts, when they moved in together and then started using those joint accounts to pay for their living expenses as a couple. Around the same time is when they were introduced to the applicants' friends. So they were introduced to the sponsors' friends first, then introduced to the applicants' friends. Often friends might be overseas for applicants because that's where their friendship circle and family circle originate from typically. That's also when they got their joint account in December. Okay, so started pooling their finances when they moved in together, but officially open up their joint accounts in December 2020. They then engaged our services in December 2021. Okay, so this couple had already been living together, already had joint accounts for about 12 months, and then engaged our services in December 2021. The couple were then introduced to the sponsor's family. Okay, so kept things a little bit hidden until they were ready to introduce each other to the sponsor's family in December 2021. Then they were nominated as each other's superannuation beneficiaries in June 2022, organized a civil union in July 2022, and organized their wills in July 2022, about a month prior to the partner visa being submitted in August 2022. Okay, so an interesting timeline, and hopefully if you watch enough of these videos, you get to understand that every couple's timeline will be different, but what we're looking for is to see some similarities. We're looking to see that they've met, obviously, that they've started dating exclusively a little while ago, that they are cohabitating, that they are pooling their finances in one way or another, that the family are aware about the relationship and been introduced to each other, that they have things like superannuation, civil union, and wills in place before a partner visa is applied for. So if you watch enough of these case study videos, you'll start to see some patterns, because that is what we do. When we take on partner visa cases, we look at the couple's facts and we identify what's missing, looking at all our prior approvals and working with the couple to strengthen their facts before we submit the application. So to summarize this couple's timeline, they had met approximately 30 months prior to applying, started dating exclusively about 28 months prior to applying, started cohabitating about 22 months prior to applying, pulling their finances around the same time, let's say 20 months prior to applying, got their joint lease around that same time, so 20 months roughly prior to applying, organized wills, nominated each other as their superannuation beneficiaries, and organized their civil union within the 3 months prior to applying for the partner visa. Partner visa was submitted, 4.5 months later, granted. Subclass 820 onshore for someone from Bangladesh. So that's it from me for this case study video. As always, I hope these case studies are beneficial. If you'd like to learn more about how to get a partner visa granted and what it really takes to get an application approved, please go and watch our Partner Visa Secrets modules inside our private Facebook group, Partner Visa Secrets. If you are already a member of the group, it'll be available in the guide section of the group. If you are not a member of the group, please do join, and then we'll point you in the direction of where to find those training modules inside the Facebook group. That's it from me, Martin, from Salvo Migration, and I look forward to seeing you on the next